Today we're going to talk about 6.9, which is modeling these polynomial functions. As you can see from the graph, this is a cubic function. And when we're going to model it, we're going to write the model into a factored form. So we will have our leading coefficient a times each of the factors. And since it's a cubic, that means we'll have 3 factors. So I wrote f of x equals a times x minus p, my first factor, x minus q, my next, and x minus r, my third. So first of all, we have a root right here at x equals negative 3. So I'm going to start my polynomial. F of x equals a. How do I go from a root of negative 3 back to the factor? That would be x plus 3. Then I have a root here at x equals negative 1. So to go back to that factor would be x plus 1. And then I have my final root here at x equals 2. So back to the factor would be x minus 2. Then you're going to pick a point on your graph, and I would suggest you always pick the y-intercept. And in this case, my y-intercept is 0, negative 6. So this is x, comma y. So I'm going to put 0 in my x spot. So that's a times 0 plus 3 times 0 plus 1 times 0 minus 2. My y spot I put negative 6. So this is negative 6 equals a times 3 times 1 times negative 2. So negative 6 equals 3 times 1 is 3 times negative 2 is negative 6, negative 6a. Divide by negative 6, and a is 1. So I'm going to take that 1 and substitute it back in here. So I'm just going to erase the a and put a 1 in there and box my polynomial in factored form. Now what if we give you the same information, but this time it's given to you as points rather than on a graph? So if I have these points, 3, 0, 2, 0, negative 3, 0, and 1, negative 1. I'm told to write a cubic function. These are the x-intercepts because they have x values when y is 0. So again, I will go f of x equals a, and I should have 3 factors. So if this root is at 3, its factor would be x minus 3. If this root is at 2, its factor would be x minus 2. And if this factor is negative 3, its factor would be x plus 3. So then this becomes the point I'm to substitute in. My x is 1, my y is negative 1. So negative 1 equals a times 1 minus 3 times 1 minus 2 times 1 plus 3. That is negative 1 equals a times negative 2 times negative 1 times 4. Negative 2 times negative 1 is 2 times 4 is 8. That's negative 1 equals 8a. Divide by 8. And a is a negative 1/8. So again, I'm just going to erase this a and fill it in with a negative 1/8. And box my factored polynomial. Next, we have this information. This table illustrates the dollars sold in a lemonade stand per week.